The Sassy Show is thrilled to partner with Joy Club as our sponsor for this series. Now, Joy Club is an online sex-positive community bringing curious, kinky minds together to connect, learn and play. If you're looking to spice up your social scene or host a sultry event, then Joy Club is a brilliant way of making an impact. But it's not just all about events, honeys. It's also a brilliant way to connect with like-minded individuals who share your passions and maybe even your deepest, wildest fantasies. So whether you want to explore those desires, make meaningful connections, or showcase that uncensored sass, Joy Club has created a safe and welcoming environment for you to do just that. So dive into the world of Joy Club by visiting joyclub.com and let the fun begin. Hello everyone, you're listening to The Sassy Show. I'm Bethany, your beautiful host, if I say so myself. Can I call myself beautiful? Who knows? And today I am here with the one and only Logan. Now Logan is a curator of pleasurable experiences and parties and he's known on the scene for all the work he does in making kinky spaces accessible to the BIPOC community. And having watched him from afar and close up lead training sessions for monitors on the scene and vocally advocate for the safety of people entering kink spaces, I am super happy to have this sassbot on the show. Hey, Logan.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
What's up? Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here because actually you were a big part of my introduction to the kink scene and I've never told you that, babe.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, spill.
Well, as people will know in a second, you are the co-founder of a party called Quench.
I am. Yeah.
And at the start of Quench, seeing all the beautiful people you were bringing together, you did a call out for safeguarding monitors and I applied.
You did?
And it was through your training that I actually feel like I gained so much more confidence on the scene, myself personally, and working in it. So before I keep chatting about me, Logan, please introduce yourself and tell us about what you do.
Do you know what I'm most proud about doing is stuff like this, making a difference to people and having no clue, just them having a great journey into a space that I didn't necessarily have, well, eventually I did, but have anyone kind of leading me or holding my hand to say, this is what it should look like, this is what it shouldn't, this is kind of like, find what lights you up kind of thing. So I try to make people light up.
Oh, babe. And also, yeah, it sounds like seeing what you didn't have and not wanting others to feel the same way.
Yeah, for sure. Especially as a man, it's like these streets are cold, so like you have to tread carefully. So yeah, it's important that people, especially disenfranchised people, have the support and the right networks and kind of someone guiding them in the right way. And I don't want to big myself up to be that person, but like what lights me up and what makes the most difference for me is knowing that other people have had a great experience through something that I've contributed or something that I've left behind, once I'm gone. So yeah.
But you're not going anywhere.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You have to think about like, when do you retire? Can you still run? Can I run Quench when I'm 50? I don't know.
I fucking hope so.
Well,
honey.
Alan has run TG for quite some time, so I'll go as long as Alan goes. So, yeah.
What is Quench? How would you describe it?
Oh, Quench is a vibe. Quench is a queer rave that appeals to the kinky and queer community. We welcome all, as long as you're like keep in line with our ethos and our rules. But I'd say that Quench is, we do workshops, socials, play parties, clothes sales, charity events. Like we do a lot.
Yeah, it's really multifaceted.
It really is, yeah.
But I feel like the umbrella that you are holding for people to stand under and gather, it's definitely one that I would say feels quite sensitive to people's needs.
Yeah.
At least you try.
I would say that, I don't know why, I started thinking about my mum. So I was always kind of like raised to look and see what isn't being done and look and see what makes the biggest difference. Like whenever I speak to like Rust sleepers or people on the street, I'm always like, what will make the biggest difference for you today? And kind of being with whatever that is. And so for me, it's the same thing in terms of the scene. What makes the biggest difference is having fidget toys or having the right type of ramp for that person's wheelchair or loads of things that people kind of don't think about. I remember the first play party I ever did, I started buying mouthwash and people were like, why is there mouthwash? I'm so happy. I'm happy that there is, but like, why? And it was my own experience of needing to have mouthwash at an event that I was like, okay, this is gonna make a difference for people. So little things like that, as well as profiling, like, you know, certain performers and stuff like that.
Sorry, the mouthwash thing has definitely just taken me to...
My bad.
You know, you eat out an asshole. It's not always the taste you want in your mouth the rest of the night.
Literally, it wasn't an asshole, but yeah, she had other things. And then I tasted it and I was like, I don't want to ever have that happen to me or anyone else again. So we're going to buy mouthwash at parties.
Yeah.
There isn't mouthwash at Quench, but like other parties there is.
But there's time.
Yes.
Tic Tacs.
There is. Ooh.
Tic
like
Tacs, honey. You know, you brought up so many different things that I want to go back to.
Okay.
You talked about being a man.
I am.
You are a man,
I am.
and it's a big deal for me because I never met a man before. No,
You never met a safe man? No, sorry, go on.
Oh, maybe slightly true. No, I very rarely have men on the show.
Yes.
And actually, I realised how important it is for this conversation around entering kink spaces, being approachable, knowing how to flirt, how to consensually engage with people. A lot of the time, it annoyingly comes down to like a bit of a gendered conversation of women or AFAB people don't feel safe.
Yes.
Non-binary people don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And men are usually put as what's the opposite of a victim? The perpetrator.
Yeah.
Which isn't the greatest narrative to only hear over and over and over again. And nothing's going to change if that's what we're always saying and hearing.
Yeah.
And I loved the way that you helped in the training for us to approach stereotypes and unconscious bias.
Okay.
Um,
Trying to remember what I said there.
Well, you told us to, in the training, and when I talk about training, this is when you're trying to help, well, actually, you can describe what is training when it comes to safeguarding.
So the safeguarding or monitor training is literally, we get whoever is interested in doing it. At the beginning, when we started Quench, we didn't have the resources to like outsource and so forth. So we put together a package, a training program that looks at, it was funny. I don't know why I'm bringing up my mum so much, but like we'll get to it. She's a big part of my life. She doesn't like the term unconscious bias, but anyway, we speak about power and privilege. We speak about identifying an unsafe situation or de-escalating something, or like really standing in your power and your responsibility that you hold in the space, and all of that stuff to enable anyone to step into a play party or a kink space and be able to safeguard and be able to hold the integrity of that space. That's what we do.
Because it can be often that when you're in that role and you're monitoring a party, you see someone, and I think I remember saying this at the time, you might see someone who triggers a feeling of the past.
Yeah, for sure.
The man who made you feel a bit uncomfortable when he stood too close.
Yeah.
Actually, that person who's right in front of you at that party might be so far away from that guy who made you feel bad that one time ages ago.
Yeah.
But they're both men, they look similar.
Yeah.
We also genuinely don't have much room to have those step-by-step conversations with people who might be new to a scene.
100%.
So I feel like that was a big thing of how you're helping educate and make the conversation an easier one to have.
Yeah, I love having awkward conversations and making them easy, because it's like it's not that deep. Just talk about it. Everyone's thinking the same thing in different ways, so let's just discuss it. What
was your stepping stone to entering the scene and exploring your own sexuality?
My stepping stone.
Or even your journey, like you've mentioned your mum a couple of times. Do you want to go back to teenage years? Is this on air, Logan?
I was a teen. My first time remember discussing sexuality was watching Alien.
Ooh.
With my mum. Yeah.
I don't know this film.
What?
Is it like E.T. or am I way off?
Whoa. Wait.
Shit.
Are you happy to disclose your age right now?
I'm 33, almost 34.
How you don't know what Alien? Okay. Alien is a film starring Sigourney Weaver. It was one of the like prominent Hollywood films that had a woman as the protagonist, basically saving the day and kicking ass. She was like the lesbian or gay, icon, because just Google Alien when you get home.
Okay.
And because Sigourney Weaver was like clearly like masked lesbian, despite her character wasn't like intended to be maybe. Anyway, I remember having a conversation with her saying like, with my mum, not Sigourney Weaver. That would
I was going to say, wow, babe.
No.
But your mum also very
with
nice.
my mum about like, why is this film different to other films? Like, why is this woman just saving the whole planet by herself, and her kind of talking to me about like representation and what it looks like and da-da-da-da-da. And in the movie, she didn't have a love interest, and it wasn't a man, and it wasn't centered around the male gaze. That was like the first memory I have of like having a discussion around those types of things. And then mum, big lesbian. That was interesting. I want to say 16 or 18, where she was like, how would you feel if I said I was lesbian? I'd be like, I'd feel like you were not hiding it anymore. Like, I feel like the whole family knew anyway. And yeah, constantly being like, not being fed, but like being exposed to, she worked in violence against women and girls since I was like 5. I'm 35 now. So, am I 35? Yeah. So constantly seeing things that weren't about misogyny, that weren't about male gaze or how patriarchy works in my favor, like that kind of forced me to like not conform to a heteronormative way of looking at myself or my own identity. So then skip to 20-something-year-old me stepping into a kink party. Even then, like the deconstruction and like the unlearning is continuous, I think, till we die, right? So I saw this massive man, and it wasn't like fat or anything like that. He was just a wide man, heavy, dog collar on, army tattoos everywhere, eating out of a dog bowl.
That's not what I thought that you were going to say. I love that.
And I'm standing there like, what the fuck is this?
Like, ruff.
Proper. It was very strange. And then like the ethnicity comes into it. I'm like, this is clearly what white people do. But I soon learned that everyone does. Well, not everyone, but you know, all types of people do this. Yeah, from then I kind of like had to step back and be like, am I into this? What am I interested in? I think we're often fed, this is what you should be into based on your identity. But I like to deconstruct those things as well.
That's so useful. I was thinking about the rarity of growing up with that kind of voice and encouragement from a mother. Not because, you know, I think anyone could raise their child that way, but I think it's difficult.
Yeah.
I think media around you tells you all the opposite things still. Your classmates might say the opposite things. Yeah. It's like, even when it comes to relationship dynamics, as a cis woman, sometimes I find myself imposing something on someone just because they're a mad person. And it's just like, fuck, you're right. It's a deconstruction.
Constantly, yeah.
Same.
But it takes a lot. It takes effort because it's so easy to just not do that and just switch off your brain and just conform. I'm going to be the dom, you're going to be the sub. I'm going to do this, you're going to do that. And it's like, but is that what lights me up? Is that what pushes me? The second part of your question in terms of like exploring my sexuality, learning to be vulnerable with another person, especially a white person, has been like so challenging but so enlightening for me, because it's like I'm viewed as, you just look at me, you don't know anything about me, I'm like, okay, cool, 6'3", long dreads, beard, black guy, born in London. You're gonna have an assumption around what I'm into. I'm gonna have an assumption around what I'm into, what I want to explore, what I feel is safe, and then deconstructing and doing the work. It's like, maybe I like this person, or I'm into that person, but they're non-binary. What does that mean about me? I remember the first non-binary person I don't know if dated is the right word, but like saw, and they were like, well, you have to look at your sexuality because I'm not a woman and you're into me, so that must mean something about you. And that was really like enlightening for me.
How do you feel about the term heteroflexible? Because I'm sorry, I fucking hate it, but I respect that it is maybe that opening of someone who might have exactly that same situation.
Yeah, how do I feel about the term? The same way I feel about any term. If it fits for you to best communicate who you are, I'm fine with it. I think in a world, we need label. We don't need labels, right? We're not in this utopia, unfortunately, but we need labels to be understood, unfortunately. I would never use it. I just stick with queer because I feel like it shows my sexuality as well as like how I want to present, or what I want to wear, or what I want to go, or who I want to spend time with, as well as like my political view. Like queerness for me is very much how I see the world, as opposed to who I want to spend time with in bed or be sensual around. But heteroflexible, My unofficial answer, you're just trying to stay quote unquote in the closet. Just like stop trying to stick to this normal parameter that you've been told is the norm.
Let's go fully flexible, baby.
Just be you, just whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
You are. Okay.
This could turn into a whole different show right now. We're on the edge of a musical theatre production.
Okay, cool. Have you seen Wicked?
Oh my God, no, but it's on the list. It's on the list.
Neither have I.
Okay,
cool.
We'll go after this.
All right.
But slightly away from Wicked.
Yeah.
You talked about that opening up of your own ideas of what you could be into, and you use this word vulnerable, and I really appreciate that because, and even about that race dynamic and interracial relationship, it's there can be lots of levels there,
so many, and
context. But I was wondering how maybe you see specifically kink and BDSM, or even running the party. How does it benefit you?
How does it benefit me? Wow.
Or how has your life changed since you've allowed yourself?
How it benefits me is it makes me a better person by forcing myself to challenge norms in every aspect. For example, I remember maybe a year or so ago, I sat my brother down. I was like, okay, you want to follow me on Instagram? You know about some of the parties, but like, if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to see like all of this like wild shit that I share, or like I'm going to share a guy like winding up his batty because I think he's hot, and like my brother might not be comfortable with that, for example. Anyway, allowed him to follow me, blah, 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 in the scene, doing my thing. And then the other day we're in the car, it's me, my brother, my cousin, and my auntie. And she was like, you lot going out? We're like, yeah, we're going to go out. And she's like, okay, be careful, treat the women right. And then my brother goes, all men. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because like, I felt seen. And if I hadn't been doing this work, I would have just hidden and not been forced to find out who I am outside of who I've been told to be. So I think that's how it helps me. It helps me be a better parent. The conversations I have with my kids, like I would not have been able to have those conversations had I not met people like you and met people and different organisers and just people that we see every week or every month at Quench and other parties. Like that's how it benefits me.
Damn, I love that reflection on how it is impacting your family system.
Oh God, yeah.
By the sounds of it, a beautiful way.
Yeah, for sure. Mum's a bit stressed, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you find it difficult to balance your personal life and this sort of more public image, I say, and responsibility that you have on the scene? Like, are you quite strict on dividing the two, or would you say invite your cousin to a party? Or
I used to be very strict, and then when I started therapy, maybe last year or the year before, I said to her, I was like, Tracy, I feel like I'm living a double life and I don't like that. So like my partner knew about everything. My 13-year-old found the Quench Instagram page, which was interesting, but we were able to have that conversation and be like, this is what this is. Do you have any questions? And obviously she was like, no questions. So before it used to be very divided, but then I was like, I feel as though, and I'm not making any judgment on people who choose to do this, especially people with kids. I feel as though I was being inauthentic if I was like Logan over here, but like this person over there. The amount of times I've seen people just like on the train in Asda, like from parties, and it's like, do I pretend like I don't know you? Do I pretend like we're not friends? Or someone says, oh, how do you know this person? Like we've now got a code word in the family for if I say this, it means I know them from that, but I'm not going to out them in the middle of Sainsbury's.
Okay, that's good.
So yeah, I definitely struggled with the divide before, whereas now, being on a podcast, being able to see my face.
I know.
Hey guys. That I'm getting better at, but again, had to have a conversation with people to say, okay, this is now gonna, maybe you might see me here or Google this or yeah. So it's a challenge, but I don't think, I know this is mad, but like in 20 or 30 years or whatever the case may be, I want my kids to be able to be like, okay, you did this, but you hid it from everyone. So how authentic was it? And why did you hide it from people? And of course, we understand why. We need to be safe. We need to make sure our jobs aren't at risk. There's still so much stigma and judgment in the communities that we're in. But if I have the luxury of being able to hide that side of it. A lot of people don't, especially sex workers. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was like, now's the time.
Okay, I'm grateful.
Thanks for having me.
Because I know how tricky it can be, and I am only predicting the kind of things that would happen if I do end up having a child or being a carer for a younger person, because I've already had those conversations which were interesting with my own family.
Okay.
I am going to be on television naked, and I am going to talk about butt plugs, and you've literally got no say in the matter. But
yeah.
When it's a responsibility that's greater than just maybe disappointing the close siblings, then it's, yeah.
For me, if I disappoint you from living my truth, then I shouldn't be trying to get your blessing. Like I just need to be okay with the fact that you might not be okay with my choices, but I still have to live my life.
That's a big one. That's a big one, actually. Yeah, you have to respect one another.
Completely.
And just be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Can't make everyone kinky, even though you all are.
Spectrum.
Yeah. Talking of that kind of change, or the sort of place you find yourself in now, also good job to Therapy Tracy.
Oh, yeah, thanks. We're starting back next month.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How would you like to see the conversation change in regards to fetish and kink within society, not just our little bubble?
Within society?
At large.
To one extreme, I was speaking with Alma Groin, someone who performs at Quench as well as loads of other places. What would be amazing would be for like sex education to expand a bit. Now, this is very techie to talk about because you're dealing with children, and it's about when is the appropriate time and what is appropriate to communicate to a young adult about kind of like the journey that they're going to go on as a person. But I feel the conversation I'd love for fetish and kink and sexuality to be about you as a person, not this thing that you're interested in. And then it's not awkward. Like, I remember my family members came to a talk I did at Seven's Dungeon, Safe Sevens Dungeon, #.
Yes. Studio 7, we love you.
We do. To drive home, they started voluntarily telling me about their kinks and their this and their that, and I'm into this. Is that weird? And like, that never would have been possible, and I know for a lot of people that's still not possible. But how can we talk about like your whole life as a person and your interests and this and that, but this part of your identity is like taboo. We don't talk about it. It's very hush hush. That's what I want to see change. Just like general conversations with people. Like, it's okay. Yeah,
because I think for me, I like to use the word sensual, and you used it as well, because it can be as gentle as having someone who wants to sit on your lap and you can stroke them.
Yeah.
Which could be a sort of arousing or just deeply relaxing experience.
Yeah.
And then if you sort of invest a bit more time in that, maybe you could be into kitty play or puppy play, you know? I mean, I'm trying to convert someone right now, but...
Okay, how's that going?
Decided he didn't want to be my pet, but there's still time.
There's still time.
Still likes the strokes.
We don't like coercion, but we like to give people time, right? To see what they like.
To plant seeds. Like, I just found this colour and lead. Did you fancy trying it on?
Yeah, I want to buy a dog mask.
Dog mask.
Yeah. I want to do it and like tie my hair up so that no one knows it's me. That's one. And then the other side of it is to just see what it's like, because it's one of the things that like the first time I saw I'll admit it, I judged. I was like, why are you pretending to be an animal? It doesn't make sense to me. And now I'm like, well, why not? Try, see if you like it.
Yeah, it still feels like an element of play, like that playfulness you have when you're little and you're becoming characters and you're being this and you're being that. It's like, we can still play. You don't have to be on stage acting.
No.
in Wicked.
We act all the time, right? When we go to work, when we're like, your family you, then your friends you. There's all so many faces.
Yeah.
So many dog masks.
So many dog, which is the real one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Talking of that kind of mask,
Mm-hmm.
I want to circle back to the man thing.
Go for it.
Because,
that word.
That old thing. How have mainstream narratives of gender, I was going to say shaped your identity, but because we've already talked about the identity shaped by your mum, but how do you see mainstream narratives sort of shape your identity, and how can you, like, I don't know, I almost want some advice,
How do current mainstream narratives, or like growing up mainstream narratives?
Maybe a bit of both. Let's do current.
Current mainstream narratives. I think current is a lot better because you have lots of examples around what... I feel like we talk about masculinity a lot. I don't know if many people can even define masculinity, but we speak about masculinity as this thing that is associated to men. And I think through podcasts, through like representation, through TV shows, something as simple as like RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, I'm not speaking about how everyone identifies, but you have men in drag. That's like, you never saw that stuff growing up. Not for me anyway. And so now someone can see that and say, okay, that's accessible to me, or that's an option, hopefully, for them. But I grew up watching like Singing in the Rain. So,
did you?
So my version of masculinity was always like, you can do this. Well, yeah, maybe Sammy Davis Jr. more in terms of like the ethnicity side. But for me, it was like, well, these are men doing things. Some Like It Hot was an amazing film that played with gender a lot.
This makes you sound really old, doesn't it? Like,
I grew up watching like black and white shit. But yeah.
I love that.
But I think there's a lot more options nowadays, for sure. But then you will always have the, I love UFC, I'm not going to knock UFC, but you still have like the burly man, violent provider. You still have those things there.
Do you think they'll ever need to go? Ooh.
Do I think they will ever need to go?
Like, do we need to deconstruct that? Or do we actually, what we need to deconstruct is who embodies that masculine, if we are going to term it as that?
I think as long as capitalism exists, that depiction of man has to be there, because if we kind of step out of that and we look at being empathetic and being considerate and wanting to be inclusive, we immediately come away from everything that's deemed as masculine, or not centering yourself as a man. And I think that's the hardest thing that men do, or have to do anyway. Yeah.
Have you ever run an all-male event that's not for men to maybe be intimate, even if they do, but as like an educational space?
Not with men. I used to work at an organisation that it used to be called Great Men Initiative, which now is called Good Lad Initiative. We would go into schools and speak to boys from like 13 to 16. Oh my God, we went to Eton. We'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
But yeah, speaking to boys in schools about gender stereotypes, norms. I always bring up the racism element side of it, classism, all of that stuff. So I've done it with boys, but not men.
Do you want to talk a bit about that experience as a black man entering these spaces?
What, kink spaces? Or, oh boy, where do we begin?
Yeah. I'm sorry for the amount of bullshit.
What? Okay, let's do this. What just happened for you in that moment?
I was thinking about the multiple things that my friends have gone through when we've entered a space, even not in a kink space, actually. The things that have been said, presumptions that have been made, the very overt sexualization based on a skin colour.
Yeah.
And then a racial dynamic that's just nasty.
Where I struggle is when it comes to kink, swing, sex, anything like that. I'm not saying they're all the same. Because of the very thing that you just said, I'm not speaking on behalf of black people or black men, I'm speaking on behalf of me and others that I know. For some people that works for them because you immediately get attention. if you haven't deconstructed fetishization, racial science, all of these things, then you're not going to see it as a problem. You're just like, well, I have a preference, or you like what you like, whatever the case may be. And I'm not here to knock anyone. I just think not enough people do the work to engage with, why am I attracted to this person? Even if it is a preference, or like someone once told me, black men just appreciate my body type, or they make love better, or whatever the case may be. That's fine if you think that. Well, it's not fine, but like, I'm not going to spend time to coach you through that. But what are you then saying about every other person? I can't fathom not being attracted to an entire race of people, personally. I just find that very strange, because I'm like, okay, well, what's happened that has you treat this person in this way? And are you going to do the work to find out why that is? Not for anything apart from, I'm very aware that white women see me in a specific way. It is what it is. So knowing that, I'm going to behave a bit more cautious or a bit more tentative to find out. So talk to me about your ex, or talk to me about this person, or how do you feel about these things? Or tell me the last 4 black people that were killed in London. If you can't tell me that, and that's not to say that my story is about trauma or death, but it's like, are you interested in black people? Are you interested in what it looks like? Or are you interested in your proximity to that thing? And that's kind of, yeah, that went deep. But
No, I'm really, you know what? You're looking at someone who's had to do that work.
okay, cool. How was that for you?
Really deeply uncomfortable.
Okay.
This is not a therapy session, but I feel like in the sake of sassy honesty,
Yeah.
it was thanks to close friends of mine who are from different ethnicities, who aren't white. And they were like, Bethany, the last few people you've been coming back here, they all look a bit similar. And we'd already talked about that being a trait with another friend of ours.
Yeah.
And they'd aired their frustrations at it and made me aware and curious and actually a bit ashamed that I hadn't looked at it. And then I got confronted by the fact that I'm not usually finding myself attracted to cis white men.
Yeah.
And looking at that, and then looking at that in comparison to the people I was attracted to.
Got you.
And feeling a sense of safety, or that feeling that you will be felt to be desired by someone, because actually there is a disgusting hierarchy still within society that make these subconscious thoughts, or actually quite conscious thoughts, there.
So first of all, I'd say I'd like to acknowledge you for doing that work, right, and sharing that, because it's not easy. Like the power dynamic is different, but I feel as though everyone needs to do that to find out, like, what is it that informs our desire. We can't all bring it back to slavery, but we can't say that has nothing to do with now. We can't step over the fact that a specific black men are seen as this sexual prowess and this and exotic whatever. Southeast Asian man, complete opposite. And it's like, why do we all view these things, but we haven't actually directly been told that and been told to feel that way? So earlier we were speaking about a conversation that actually I didn't give context. I said something on a panel discussion about learning to desire black women, and it went very wrong online. But hey, it went how it went.
Which also, sorry, just as a title, is something that I know a lot of my black female friends would already want to hear be said out loud.
Yeah, I've so many women and femme people that I've spoken to, not just black community, black and brown, POC, whatever word you want to use, people, because it's all different groups of people. Because me being raised in London in the 80s to 90s, seeing what I saw, the only sexualization imagery-wise I saw was white people, was white women. Page 3, Pornhub wasn't out then. Like internet, Television X, all of that stuff was just white women. And I remember the first black porn star I saw, I was obviously aroused, but I just sat there like, there's something not computing here. And it was me doing the work of why am I not seeing these groups of people as the same? Why have I subconsciously categorized them as like one being accessible or like for me, but this other group is like, I'm not sure. There's something there, but I'm not sure what it is. Obviously, I've like so gotten over that now, but like I said, the work doesn't end. It's still constantly thinking about what's there. Do I feel bad? Am I a traitor? Am I this? Am I that? All of this deep stuff that, again, we don't talk about. But I'm like, but we all go through it. So let's just talk about it. So it's not weird anymore. Like we're doing now.
Yeah. And it is always a bit, I think uncomfortable is the word to use, because it brings up a lot of truths that we don't want to admit to ourselves, let alone admit out loud. And then it's like, I want to say that it can be difficult to be honest when we have a very provoked cancel culture.
Yeah.
So even when you do want to be honest, you're at risk of knowing it's going to come back at you, and then people are going to hold it against you. And it's like, that really stops growth or change.
Completely. Because people are scared. Like, I remember we did before we did the monitor training ages ago when I ran Little Black Book, we did like I can't remember what I called it. It was like monitor training, but it was more like an open forum. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about these things. And there was a person there, I won't say names, and his thing was like, oh, people look at me because I'm a skinhead and they find me scary. I was like, oh, okay, but you know you're not scary, right? And then everyone laughs, and then he's like, yeah, I know. And then like I literally didn't move on from the thing. I was like, but you know you're not scary, right? Oh, maybe I'm getting a bit emotional now. Anyway, that's okay to be emotional. And like he sat there crying, and I was like, you need to be with the thing. Like, we're all scared. Like, white people are scared of saying the wrong thing, getting it wrong. Black people are scared of like being seen as too loud and ghetto and all of this stuff. And it's like, well, we know this, so let's stop being awkward and let's just talk about it. That way you can say, I have this preference, this is the thing, I want to work on it. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's not for me to do the work for you, but it's like, okay, cool, maybe these are some resources, or it's a safe space to talk about it. And the same for me or someone else. But they're all valid.
Yeah.
If we just stop worrying about being cancelled and judged, then...
Yeah, you're right. It's like offering the support for that change.
Of course, because that's what I would... It's not, and it doesn't even have to be change. Like you said, growth. It's just growth. Who you sleep with might not change, but you've done and you're doing the work to be like, why am I into this person? Why am I into this thing? Someone said something to me ages ago. You don't need to make sense of all of your kinks. You can just like it.
Yeah.
And there's a few that I have that I want to make sense of, but I'm like, I just like it.
And it might also be, well, yeah, then it's making sense of it. But I think sometimes it might just evoke a feeling. Yeah. And that is a nice feeling.
Yeah.
And if it's safe and consensual, then it's nice to indulge it.
I agree.
Honey, we are heading to the end of the interview, Logan.
Okay.
Which makes me sad because I feel like you brought up so many different conversations that need to be continued.
Okay.
So if you're watching this, rewind, listen again.
Part 2, maybe.
Part 2. I do want to know quickly, before the quickfire, so it's like semi-quickfire.
Oh, okay, go for it.
What you wish you could tell your younger self. Give us some advice.
What could I tell my younger self? Wow.
Oh, is that too big a question? I think you've got it.
There's so many things. Can we give a subcategory? What would I tell myself about what?
Your identity.
What would I tell myself about my identity? You definitely like boys, and that's okay. And that's okay. Maybe don't think so much and trying to figure it out. Just like experience things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Experience.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And it is the Sassy show, so I want to know.
Is.
And though I think I have actually witnessed some of your sass in action, but how would you describe your sassy side, Logan?
My sassy side.
Open to interpretation. Does not need to be explicit.
Whenever my ex and I would watch Pose.
Yeah.
Not all of, but majority of the characters, I would see myself and she'd just turn and look at me like, that's you. And I think if I was to be a bit more, not be more confident, if I was to like take that leap, more makeup, more leggings, I want to buy some high heels.
Yes, babe.
It would just be a bit more colourful, you know? Oh. I think that's what it would be.
I love that. I can see that.
For sure, but then I think about my voice and I'm like, do I want to change my voice? Do I need to? And then I start making sense of it rather than just going for it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
No?
Play.
Yeah, okay, just play.
Play.
All right, cool. So
And your voice is delicious. So if you want to stay there, you can. If you want to play with it, you can.
Okay, cool. We'll play.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
Playtime.
Okay, thanks.
I was like, now is your chance. You can give us a little whisper.
No free content.
Okay. Damn it. Okay. Quick fire round has begun. Are you ready?
I don't know, but let's go.
When do you feel most confident?
Ooh, wearing stockings.
Delightful stockings. Usually
Not
a
gonna
body
lie.
stocking.
No. Just Primark stockings.
Oh, babe. Like
Yeah.
knee highs.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah.
They always slip down.
Not for me. I
got
don't
the
know
right
why.
thighs.
I've got the right thighs.
The right thighs. Right
Yeah.
legs for stockings.
Mhm.
One dream you wish to come true.
Ooh.
This can be a self-absorbed, self-centered dream, by the way.
One dream I wish to come true.
We've got a giggle. Who knows what that means? Is that a dream you're not going to tell me about?
No,
Okay.
I'll tell
Okay.
you. 20-person queer orgy
Oh.
on my birthday.
Well, I already know that dream's probably going to come true really easily for you. And
We'll see.
you know enough people.
No. I know enough people. I don't know enough people that I feel 100% safe to share that experience with.
Okay, fair enough.
And vulnerable to share that experience with.
I've actually never had an orgy with people I know.
Wow.
So talk about differences. I probably count me in.
Okay.
I'll be one of the 20.
Cool.
Just so you know. Okay, both goes badly. Logan, name a
Yes.
key experience that shaped you positively.
At Quench, we were at a union. This guy was in the dance floor, dancing. Dress code was not 100%. And so usually we'd have a conversation, potentially remove the person from the party. He was super shy. Decided to take off his top, decided to put on some makeup, and stayed. He started talking, meeting people, and just completely came out of his shell. So going from you're not part of this space, you need to come out, to now you're one of us. You feel comfortable. I loved that because it was like, give people a chance. Don't just be militant all the time.
Yeah, and
I love that.
I really think if you go to these spaces on your own, because you
Yeah.
haven't found a community yet and you haven't got any friends, it can be so nerve-wracking. It might take an
Completely.
hour to get the top off
Yeah.
and another hour to be like, oh, I will put that lipstick on. And I know that's not how the parties work, and that's why it's great to go to munches and all of these things.
Yeah, for sure. But even if you don't want to take your top off, like, I'm a big believer in you don't have to be naked. You don't have to show flesh. It's like, wear something that makes you feel comfortable. Like the stockings was for me. It took me time to get there. Wear something that makes you feel comfortable, that fits into whatever the rules are, and then you can grow as a person. Yeah.
Do you think you like the material of the stocking?
I like the material. I like how it makes my legs look. And I like that somewhere in my brain, I'm like, you're not supposed to be wearing this, but you are. And it's so visible because I'm so tall. So it's like, yeah.
And also, just anyone can wear them. It's just a internal thought. Of,
Oh,
I can't
yeah,
wear this.
completely. And it makes my ass look great.
Even better.
I know, right?
Okay. Tell us about a cause that is close to your heart or a law that you'd like to change.
A cause that is close to my heart. Babe. Okay, a law that I'd like to change would 100%, trigger warning, sexual assault. Okay.
Thank you.
The laws around the period of time that women need to make claims or allegations, I'm not sure what the right word is, but like file a rape assault charge.
There's a time frame?
Yeah, so again, trigger warning. You need to get a rape kit. It needs to be collected in a certain period of time. It's not necessarily like statute of limitations, but if you said this happened last year, because of how evidence is collected and because of how the law is, majority of cases just get thrown out. So if we could change the law around how that is processed or how people are prosecuted around sexual assault, that's what I want to change.
Wow, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
No worries.
Because I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Change that law.
100%. That's what I want to change.
It's the final question, Logan.
Yes. Final one. I'm ready.
Are you? Because it's
ready.
my favourite question of the whole show.
God. Okay, go.
What is the best thing about being you?
What is the best thing about being me? My ADHD. My ability to get myself out of the way and listen to what is important for other people and truly like get that.
Wow.
I think that's the best thing about me.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate you.
Logan. Honeys, you have been watching The Sassy Show. And if you want to keep up to date with this fine human, Logan, where can they head?
Lee made that sexual thing. They can head to Instagram at I am Logan Star.
That took me so long to understand what you were just
It's the
suggesting.
same joke you made earlier. Yeah. They can head to Instagram. You can find me at I am Logan Star.
Beautiful.
Thank
you,
you.
honey.
I appreciate you.
Music out. This episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors, joyclub.com, an online sex positive community bringing kinky, curious wonders together from all walks of life. Whether you're looking to spice up your social calendar with those hottest events, share your steamy thoughts and ideas in their lively forum, or set out for a search for that hot date, Joy Club is the ultimate destination to connect with those like-minded individuals. Creating your profile is easy, and it is the perfect way to showcase your unique vibe. Share those sassy photos and explore topics that excite you, and dive into the welcoming community where learning, exploring, and pleasure is encouraged. So if you're ready to bring a little extra excitement and joy into your world, head over to joyclub.com and join the community today.